I just watched a really interesting video on Trek Yards and I just wanted to give my 2 cents. There'll be a link in the description to their video. Please go check it out. But they're talking about how the Enterprise in Strange New Worlds is much bigger than the Enterprise in the original series. They made the Connie different. Welcome to the Tachyon Pulse podcast.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
I just really wanted to have a quick chat about this. And to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to set all the lights and everything up. But this Trek Yards video is basically saying that, particularly in the latest episode of Strange New Worlds, the size of the Constitution has been confirmed and it's over 400 metres. But we know from Canon that the Constitution class is actually a shade under 300 metres long. Now, we've got the refit, which I think is slightly longer because the way that the vessel is basically put together is basically because of the engines. But we know the numbers. We know how many decks there are. We know the tonnage. Apparently the tonnage is exactly the same in the new ship. It's just bigger. And, you know, we have all these statistics over years. We have a Constitution technical manual, like we've got the Enterprise D technical manual. All this stuff is in Canon. Now, I never complained that they changed the sets and things and some of the technology and basically how the Enterprise looks. When they did Strange New Worlds, even though I prefer they just didn't do Strange New Worlds, if I'm honest, but when they did Strange New Worlds, they couldn't make the Enterprise look exactly the same as it did in the original series. It just wouldn't have worked. CGI, etc., is completely different. The technology used to, create these shots and things is completely different. It just would have been insane to try and do that. I thought, though, they did quite a good job of, at very least, always trying to give us the feel of the Enterprise. I like the bridge. I like how it's got those red banister things sort of thing around the edge. On the whole, they made some really nice touches. They made things like the captain's quarters much bigger because it kind of just makes sense. In the original series, the captain's quarter is basically a room with a bed and a desk. But don't get me wrong, I'm not sure why they put a full kitchen in Pike's, quarters. But they did, so whatever. They made the engine room more like what we would expect from later series. They made the shuttle bay enormous. They made the shuttles bigger, actually, which again kind of made sense, even though the shuttles were much bigger than even anything we saw in TNG. But I accepted all of these things because it is a different show, it's a different era. They couldn't really get away with it without making those big decisions. But why make it bigger? JJ Abrams did this, and I wasn't impressed. The Enterprise looked completely different in JJ Abrams, other than the fundamental shape of a saucer and neck, I think. The other thing is they made the Enterprise different in all 3 films, which always annoyed me. Just like, why did they do that? Subtle creative differences in all 3 films. I kind of got it in the 3rd film because then when they did it, but when the bad guys, led by Idris Elba, cut the neck off. So what they did was they elongated the neck quite a bit in the Constitution to sort of make it a little bit more fragile, so that when it happened, it looked cooler. I can kind of accept that, even though that irritates me. I'm saying just keep the ship the same. Why mess around with it? They never did this in the other series, so why do it with Star Trek? Basically, in those JJ Abrams movies, they did it because they could. In the original series, they had to build the model, so they didn't change the Enterprise, which I think was a good thing. In these ones, because the CGI render were heavy, they could change it, so they just did. That annoys me. For Strange New Worlds, though, they kept going on about how this is canon now, and this is, Prime Universe, and this is the prequel to the original series. It's not a multi-universe. It's not anything like that. This is canon. So, if you go on about that so much, and if you keep telling them this is Prime Universe, why do you then do something so stupid as make the Enterprise over 100 meters longer than it was before. And don't worry, the Enterprise was not a small ship before. You think about how far 100 meters is. This ship was nearly 300 meters long. Not a small ship. So they've retconned it for whatever reason to make it bigger. And to be honest, it probably does make more sense in its new configuration, new size and everything. But why do it? They didn't need to, is my point. It's like they just forgot how big the Enterprise used to be. It's got a size, it's got numbers, it's got, all this thing. We know the internal layout or whatever. All right, change a few bits and bobs, make it a bit more up to date with what we might expect for TNG or whatever, but then keep the numbers the same, keep the amount of decks the same. Not that the movies in particular ever quite kept that right. Even in bloody the Enterprise and the it was called First Contact movie, they got the decks wrong. But so things like that happen, I suppose. But they shouldn't really be making those mistakes. They definitely shouldn't be making those mistakes in a very high budget movie like First Contact. But how do I really feel about this? Am I that angry about it? I suppose I'm just a little bit, whatever. By now, when they change these things and when they mess up canon and stuff, I'm just like, oh, whatever. I've stopped really thinking that they will get these details right. I just think that things like this are not that difficult to get right, So it's just like, why do it? If you just care a little bit and somebody says, right, okay, we're going to do a graphic now. How big is the Enterprise? Boom, it's this big. It's like they've gone, oh, it's going to have to be about 400 meters. They've probably had a meeting and gone, nearly 300 meters. Oh, that's not very big. We better make it bigger. And I'm just like, release a statement then to say, look, we have made it bigger because we don't think the measurements for the Connie before made any sense, so we've retconned it. Please don't get angry at us. But they just did it and just did it. What do you guys think? Am I overthinking this? I do that sometimes. Or actually, is it important just to keep these simple details right? I've got a video coming up about canon and why it's actually important. Leonard Nimoy famously said, look, story first, canon second. And I'm like, you can have both. To a point. Certain things don't matter. But when you've got an in-canon measurement for something, or an in-canon event, just don't mess around with it. Like, in canon, this war happened here. So don't mess around with it. In canon, Khan was born here. Don't change it. What do you guys think? Into the comments. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. It really helps us out. You'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos first. Don't forget to go and watch the Trek Yards video. It's very interesting. They talk about all the different possibilities of how this might work. Go and subscribe to them as well. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.